Namaste to everybody. Joy Ma Kamakhya, Jai Bhairab Baba, Har Har Mahadev. Today I come to you from Kashi and I wanted to explain to you a bit about the petition that we have filed. So you might have seen me putting across a online petition with respect to the Kamakhya corridor matter, and many of you had asked me to explain that what is this regarding. So as you know that there are various kshetras in which developmental activities have been going on for past 1-2 years in different places. Similarly, there's something planned with respect to the Kamakhya temple and the llहर, some development activities that are going to be there in order to increase and help tourism and other aspects, which I suppose is one way of looking at it. So me and some devotees of Ma Kamakhya, specifically Sri Gitika Bhattacharya, who is a very strong devotee, and she lives in Guwahati and is a social worker and is a very strong individual, upasaka of Ma Kamakhya and Ma Kali. So our apprehension with respect to this is that in the process of development of the hill, it is possible that there could be some irreversible damage that may happen in the kshetra, which can have long-term negative consequences. So right at the beginning, let me be very clear that we are not against the idea of development, which is of course any sane individual will tell you that it's a very good thing to do. However, you have to understand that what exactly does development mean. So suppose if I have a vigraha of a deity which is 200-300 years old, there will always be certain amount of some wear and tear and some stains, etc. in the vigraha. But because of the continuous worship for 200-300 years, it will have a power that is something you cannot get if you were to go and buy another shiny vigraha from the market right away. So when we talk about spiritual places, the key idea behind it is the Shakti that the space holds for long periods of time. For a pitha like Kamakhya, which is at least 3000 years old, if not older, the amount of power that it has, and in fact it is one of the 4 primary Shakti pithas among all the 51 pithas, the great masters used to say that even humanly it is not possible to comprehend the kind of Shakti that is there in that llहर. And it is important to understand that it is not just the temple, it's the very hill, the kshetra itself that is divine. It is on the body of Shiva, of Bhairava, that Ma Kamakhya sits. So these understandings are important for anybody who wants to do any kind of developmental activity on the hill, because it should not in any way impact the spiritual ecological condition of the llहर and affect the deity, and in course of time affect the spiritual practices that happen there. It is also important to understand that if you look at the Vastu of our country, for example, so Kamakhya Kshetra is situated towards the northeast. So that is the area where you have Anugraha, or the divine blessings that comes into the space. So if any kind of unnecessary or any kind of tampering of that space is done without taking into sentiments the sacredness of that geography, it can have a consequence that may impact the whole country, and not just northeast, whole of a country. I mean, anybody who knows even 1% of Vastu will tell you that this is how it works in general for any space. More importantly, if you have been to Kamakhya, you will see that there is the main temple of Ma Kamakhya. Along with that, there are 10 Mahavidyas, all the great Shaktis that are there. There are Bhairavas, there are Pancha Shivas are there, Ganpati is there, various things are there across the hill. And the most important aspect of Kamakhya is there is a constant perennial stream that flows under the hills that comes across in different points, which manifests different powers of the Mahavidyas, whether it's Tripur Sundari, Kali, Tara, Bhuvaneshwari, all these are actually fundamentally, there are streams of water that come in, and so a devotee is expected there to go touch that water, have a sip of it. That is the darshan. So in Kamakhya, if somebody goes and you are just doing a namaskara, that is okay, but that doesn't complete your process. You have to touch the water from that spring and consume that water. Now if me and Gitika ji and the others who are concerned about this, and we are just ordinary devotees, mind you. We do not have any other intention or any other, connections in this matter. As very simple ordinary devotees of Ma Kamakhya, when we look at the tenders that have been passed by the government for this, there is a possibility of 10 to 15 feet of digging on the hill that needs to be done in order to construct different buildings. Now we fear and we suspect that these kind of activities may affect the flow of water with respect to that. So that is why we put out this petition more as a kind of awareness program for people, so that they understand that in order, if you do that kind of demolition activity on the hill, it affects the flow of water. If it affects the flow of water, it affects all the Mahavidya temples, and that has its own repercussions and consequences for a very long period of time, which we cannot even humanly comprehend. So to clarify once again, we are not against development. I mean, for all we care, right below the hill, if you create a 10-story building for the utility purposes of the devotees and all, it's a wonderful gesture. I mean, who would oppose that in sane mind? But we want that the sacredness of the geography, the ecology and the hydrology of the hill should not be affected with making reckless development, with the purpose of making it more tourist friendly. These are not spaces for tourism. These are spaces for upasana, for sadhakas. It takes thousands of years of dedicated practice of great masters, tantric masters and others who have kept alive the power of that space. We should not let few years of human folly make this into a, do something that ends up in a blunder and eventually causes pain to all of us. Because at the end, if it benefits us, it benefits everybody who lives in the country. So with that idea in mind, it's a general request to all of you who have any kind of sympathies with the hill, with the Kshetras of India, with the deities of India, and deity as powerful as Kamakhya, which is the most primary Shakti Pitha of all the Pithas that we have today. I would request you to sign that petition to support us, and maybe if there is any political figure that you are aware of, you can voice your concern with respect to this. So there should be development, but keeping in mind the sacredness, the sanctity and the geography and geology and the hydrology of the hill, these should not be affected, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Jai Ma Kamakhya.